We'll have to check with Dawn. That'd be next Monday.
Yeah.
Is
it rented?
I don't know, I'll have to check with Dawn.
Okay. Yeah. I said, yeah.
No. We're right, check, but I don't want to cash on it.
You're off. Yeah, I got it. That's what I got. There you go.
We'll start the meeting at 7 o'clock.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Don't forget. I don't think we got any guest speakers. Correspondence.
I received this from our insurance agent, our medical health insurance. I forwarded it to you. They are changing the OPEB funding slightly, but it doesn't look like the coverage or the deductibles will change, but the premium will. And it will lock us in until no renewal until January 2016.
When do you want money?
18-month rate guarantee.
It's gonna change regardless.
Yeah. Well, what if we didn't hold on? I mean, well, no, we don't have to do this. What, if we want to stay locked in at the lower price?
So that's lower price.
Yes. That's projected, proposed. That's the current level.
It locks us into 2 years.
And it locks in for basically July or January 1st, 2016. We don't have to do this tonight. We can do it at the
Can't hear you.
January meeting.
Y'all need to speak up a little bit.
You have to unplug that air.
Be honest here.
Turn the mic on, man.
$112 difference.
Air conditioner.
Yeah, I'll turn it off.
Right, it's not even
Can't hear nothing.
so, I mean.
Let me get it. Yeah.
We don't have, like I said, we don't have to do this tonight because there is a resolution that they've asked us to pass if we choose to do this. But like I said, we can do it at the meeting.
Is that the resolution?
So it's up to you guys.
Let's look at the down to.
This is what it is now, a month. And that's what it would go down to.
It's $112 difference.
Aren't we already members of OPEC?
Yes, but they're just kind of restructuring it and the price is gonna go down.
That's all they require, is that?
Yes.
And that's due July sometime, right?
It goes, proposed effective date is July 1st. So if we want to do it, we would have to do it at the June, no later than the June meeting. Either do it tonight or do it at the June meeting.
We're fine with this, we'll go down. And make a motion that we go ahead and go with the new rate, it's gonna be locked in for 2 years.
I'll second.
Do roll call. Dan,
Yeah.
Ben,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Somebody left this on the table, did you wanna talk about that later, or it looks like there's a survey thing attached to it.
All that's for.
Oh, that's what I took into the,
Oh, you left it here?
yeah,
Have they done anything on it?
I don't know if they done it, that's when I took it in the engineer's office
Right.
to survey that for that alley.
Keep hold of it. What was it?
Okay, I thought that's what that was, but that was just,
That's our copy.
Yeah.
There's a
That's just-
timestamp, looks like.
yeah. Did you all receive the 2014 Ohio LTAP Customer Training Needs Survey? Did you all get that?
I didn't.
I don't know if we need to. It's identifying current or future training needs. I don't know if you guys want to look at that and see if you have any training needs. Did you all receive the letter from Licking County Planning Department? Did you get this?
End of the day.
It's a public hearing notice for a text amendment to section 4.0, loop cul-de-sacs and roundabouts. The meeting will be Monday, June 23rd, 2014, at 7 p.m. in meeting room A, the basement. If anybody wants any more information about that. I received a letter from Ohio EPA about it's from Quasar Energy Group is including the following sites as part of the Zanesville Energy LLC Biosolids Management Program. And then it lists them, it's property that owned by Jeff Croft on Rankin.
That's where it's gonna be spread.
I'm not sure exactly what it,
He rents, he does on the third corner over there.
He spreads that all
Yeah.
around.
Mhm.
and
So
then
it's just a notification to us.
And then I received contract from Amy, the assistant prosecutor, about the trash contract extension. And I put that on the agenda, so we can do that then. And then we also have property insurance I received. I don't think I put that on the agenda, so I'll go ahead and go over that. The coverage is gonna stay the same. And it's actually going to go down about $400. If we have any questions about it, we can talk to John, but he says nothing changed on it, because we really didn't have any changes. I mentioned that we paid the truck off, and that, didn't really have any bearing on it, but, and I don't even see that we need to sign anything. Did you guys have any problems with the insurance or have any questions about it?
Got copies of that by chance.
You just have this?
Just print it out in email or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was all I had. I also have the updated list of the board, the zoning appeals board and the zoning commission. That's it.
There's one thing here that was given to me yesterday. I'll show you. It's 2-page letter. It says, "Dear Board of Bowling Green Township Trustees, at the February 25th, 2014 meeting, I submitted a written request for public records. I requested a copy of every video recorded trustee meeting, park committee meeting, and special township events, zoning board appeals, zoning meetings, every videotape public meeting. I again requested these recordings verbally at the March 25th, 2014 meeting. To date, I have not received any records. According to the Ohio Revised Code, these records are public and any person can request a copy. If my request is not fulfilled in a timely manner, I will pursue legal action against the Board of Township Trustees." You want to say it? Put that in a file, keep that.
Okay.
Who's it from?
It's signed on the bottom there.
on that contract renewal, can you email it or something, so we can, or are we gonna be signing that tonight on the trash renewal?
It's very simple.
Okay, I'll just see. The only thing are you done?
The only thing we need to discuss is that letter. I don't know if we need to do any action, take any action, move forward with it. I don't, it was a legitimate request.
You were copied on Amy's correspondence on that, I believe. She's too busy to deal with it until the June meeting.
And I feel bad.
Can I take a look at that, then?
The letter?
The contract, extension of the contract with trash, so I have to look here.
So we're just gonna table it until the June meeting? Is that what you're asking?
I'm not asking anything.
Was that what you're stating? That-
It's your correspondence, Ben, not mine. If you
Well,
got the legal copy on it, then you know where we are with it, with Amy.
I don't have copies of them, of them at the meeting.
If you didn't get the copy of the email, did you get it, Jenny?
I believe so.
Okay, if you would, print it out and make sure Ben did it.
Really?
So you do have it,
I didn't say that.
either you do or you
I
don't.
don't put words in my mouth.
Is it my turn there?
I suppose.
Okay, under correspondence, most of it is covered pretty much. OPEC called me, did they get a hold of you, Jenny?
OPEC,
OPERS,
I took
Public.
care of it, yes.
Okay, because what they had told me is they were having trouble getting a hold of you, and they said that according to the ORC, you've been late on several payments, and we have a fine we have to pay.
I was having some trouble with my computer sending reports, but I've gotten it taken care of now.
Do we have to pay the fine as a separate fee, or just with the next payment?
Just with the next payment.
That's all I got.
I did have some other things too. Keep going there. In case anybody doesn't know, the bridge on Somerset Road that the county was repairing is open. I think everybody probably knows that, but they opened it within the last month, so it is open. Go through there. One other thing, I received a phone call today actually on a tree on the corner of Beach Street up here. We go back like where Staggers used to live back here, and there's a pine tree on the corner there. And it's overgrown. It's sticking out there pretty good. So,
They're down there by the end of 40,
yeah. I mean, you can't even see the road sign anymore.
right there by the brown house.
Yeah. Stop off the property owner, see what we can do there. See if we can get turned back a little bit. But they were calling it. I'll do follow-up on that. That's it. That's all right.
Like on their safety, everything's
He's talking about cutting, you cut that tree off, that's out there.
all good.
What's that?
I would have to make sure with my dad, but I'm pretty sure that's what he wants to do.
Okay. All right, I'll talk to him. I'll coordinate with him. Very good.
We gotta get these blades, safety's all right on my side, we gotta get these blades on that more and we'll work on the big one.
Okay.
You want new blades on the arm on it, no drive in there.
Alrighty, let's see, fire, zoning,
She sent me her report. She had one permit on National Road for a deck add-on. That's it.
okay, zoning appeal property. And then go down to unfinished business. Trash,
Okay.
Contract.
You have what they're calling Exhibit A handy.
I did not bring that with me, no.
Also, I noticed here that they didn't put anything on here, they said they were gonna give a free recycled dumpster for the township down here, I don't see that on here.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see what Exhibit A is, it's just referenced on here.
Can I just read it out loud? Where
Probably
is it?
doesn't need to be done tonight anyway, does it? I'll just,
No, it doesn't.
I'd like to review Exhibit A before we vote on it. Find out why that, maybe it's just an oversight on somebody's part. It does need to be in writing because that's a change. They're giving an additional dumpster.
I'll read it. Whereas the Board of Bowling Green Township Trustees and Big O Refuge entered into an exclusive agreement for the collection, transportation, and disposal of residential garbage, refuse, recyclables, and yard waste within the unincorporated areas of Bowling Green Township, Licking County, Ohio, effective on the first day of August 2011. Attached hereto as Exhibit A is the true copy of the executed agreement, which is the contract that we signed originally. And whereas the agreement will expire on July 31st, 2014, however, the parties are specifically authorized to extend the agreement for an additional term of 3 years. And whereas any such extension of the agreement shall be in writing, and whereas it is the mutual intention of the parties that the agreement shall be extended as set forth below. Now therefore each party hereby intends that the following terms shall be effective upon signatures of both parties. The agreement, number one, the agreement entered into by and between the parties and attached hereto as Exhibit A is hereby extended for an additional term of 3 years. Number two, the extension period shall commence on January 1st, 2014 and shall expire on July 31st, 2017. The service rates provided by Big O Refuge LLC is the original agreement shall remain effective without increase throughout the 3-year extension period. Big O Refuge LLC shall provide free recycling, residential recycling, pickup to the residents of Bowling Green Township pursuant to the terms contained within the original agreement. Number 5, all other terms and conditions of the agreement shall remain in full force and effect throughout the 3-year extension period.
They just added it on there, didn't they?
Did Amy write that up for you?
Yes. They don't have the recycling dumpster, the one
Oh.
that said they were gonna. Again, this doesn't have to be done tonight either, we can do that at the next meeting.
You already voted on that last one, technically.
Especially something if you want to ask her to grab that one. That's fine. Slide this one. One other thing I have to eat up in the trash. We had spoke last month that CMI was at fault for picking up in the township. There was a judgment entered against them. And they had 30 days to, I guess, pay the township the fines that the courts had awarded to us. After 30 days, if they did not pay us, with the other actions that were taken, I asked Amy kind of what if we decided to go that route, what our options would be. Here's an email she had sent to me. There's a couple other things in there.
These copies for us?
Yeah.
Is there any reason she didn't copy this on the beginning?
No idea.
When'd you get this?
No idea. I don't know. Pretty much just states that, well, two things. It asks if they're still picking up in the township. If they are, what the consequences for picking up in the township could be. You could file contempt action against them, and they would, seeking additional fines or imprisonment for violating the injunction. That was one thing to discuss. The other one was that pretty much we could put a lien on their property. If pretty much those things, if we wanted to go that route, since, I mean, we haven't received anything from them. Correct. If we wanted to move forward to put a lien on their property, we have to approve a check for $41 to accompany the filing with the court system. Has anybody seen CMI in the township? Go pick it up. Everybody else in the room? I know there's still some cans out there that are marked CMI that are sitting out on different days and when they go pick up. So, I physically haven't witnessed them picking up since then.
Out there this morning, at 8 o'clock.
Because yesterday was a holiday, right? Yeah.
We're sending a letter out, we already have to all the homeowners, and out again to remind them.
Sure.
We've done this multiple times, and I don't know whether they're doing good with the trustee, we're sending letters to people.
We've tried.
I know.
Yeah. We've tried. I mean, the court system sent letters and everything else. I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and move forward and let Amy file. She called it a custody to put a lien on there. So yeah, exactly how it's stated. Recipe for a certified judgment can be filed against CMI so that the judgment attaches to their property. I'd like to make a motion that we do that. And we issue a check for $41 to, I would say it's the Lincoln County Courts.
You just check with Amy on that.
Is there a second to the
I'll
motion?
second it.
Roll call, Dan,
Yeah.
Ben,
Yes.
Jeff,
No.
That's all I have under that. And again, if anybody can witness them, take a picture, some time, date stamp, that'll definitely help us.
You said the residents were sent letters. Do you have copies of those? Do you know what they, who they sent them to or what it said?
I said
For what
that.
residents?
I said that.
I thought you had relayed to him that they had sent out, the court system had sent out letters. What were you referring to?
That would have been to CMI.
Okay. Because the question was whether residents that may still be using them are aware. Those residents haven't been notified, by the court system.
Not that I know.
Those same addresses that were cited in the original.
I haven't seen them. I haven't witnessed them with those addresses. I've been tagged. My motion was to move forward with the judgment that's already in our favor. I wasn't asking for her to file any contempt action since we have no physical proof that they're still picking up.
Okay, the building
Resolution.
Reservation Street.
I had asked Jenny to send me the document on that, and I didn't get it till today, so what I had done, I didn't know why you didn't send it, so I went ahead and re-entered it, based it off just notes that I had written down. Most of it was pretty straightforward. It referenced, we talked about this last month, this is copies of how it currently is. Park committee members was taken out. I've got the draft here. So if you want to go over changes where it took out park committee, whatever you want to do, just having one here, it's marked draft with today's date on it. If we don't do it tonight, that day will be changed. That's pretty much it. So there's the draft that I put together, like I said I would do. Need to read it through. There's what, 15 or 16, 15 basic rules. could read them all down, or we can get copies and review it, whatever you want to do.
Just table it to the next meeting. You have a copy of this, right? Since you made this, yes.
Yeah, that's a draft that Jenny can,
Can you send me a copy of that? Just table it to the next meeting.
but make sure you've got the old one again, so.
New business.
Cinder bins, I talked to 2 people about coming out and giving us a quote. I haven't received anything back from them. One guy said he was going to get back with me, he hasn't yet. The other gentleman I talked to, he thinks he's going to move, so he's probably not interested in doing it. So I'll keep looking around, see if we can get some idea of prices on it.
Alrighty. Roads, right? All of our roads is in pretty bad shape. I think the best thing we could do is just do nothing but, just do strictly spot patching. Because they're not fit to really chip and seal yet. You know what I mean? Then they're just,
Yeah.
there's too many bad spots in them.
So we put out a bid, spot patching, and just they would come back with a price on what they're going to charge us.
We don't have to put a bid out for spot patching,
Okay.
because I've talked to the engineer's office, and we don't have to have a bid package or anything. We can just go ahead and do it. Because I think they told me 30,000.
Yeah.
We, $30,000, you only have to bid it out.
Okay. So it's over 30, we have to bid it?
No, you can do it in 2 payments, 2 partials. you know.
Gotcha. Something earlier, and something later, and something.
Yeah,
Yeah. I agree with you, to do spot matching. It's not gonna make any sense to put that chip and seal over,
Yeah.
bust it up.
because they're too rough to try to chip and seal.
I tried to be in contact with the engineer's office, phone calls back and forth about seeing what they'll do to help us on Lawyers Road out there.
Yeah.
I talked to a couple people at the highway department, every time I've been directed back to talk to,
And then engineer's office.
Bill,
Yeah.
lawyer. So I got a phone call in him, she'll call me back over tomorrow, so I'm just gonna ask if they can help us do anything.
Yeah, I know they'll help us.
That bridge is closed on Somerset, it's still on traffic through there, and we put some money on that last year, spot back in the table, just a payment through there, and we'll just bust it up.
Because we need to put some more spot patching on Warrior Road, straighten it up. And Mount Hope, we need to put some spot patching on it. I think the south end's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
They're by a big tree. Oh, there, before you get to it? Okay, well,
On the north side, is that what you're talking about?
you're talking down by Schaefer's.
No, I'm talking about the north side.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The south side from Laurel Hill, down the county line's not too bad.
One hill, the first one you get down there, where they open it out.
But we need quite a bit, just after you turn off
Yeah.
the Laurel Hill, move that hill down to them houses. And I think there's another spot on the other side of the interstate there, isn't there? I know, they're all, and Bowser,
Yeah.
we need to spot patch on Bowser before we
You can
lose,
say that,
before we lose it.
7.
Yeah, and then, up on Cook Rider,
Yeah, we do flat area.
yeah, that top of that hill, and then right around by Love's going up that hill, that needs it.
so you don't want to have a road meeting this year, like you should do,
Well,
since we're not going to be
there's
bidding out
just,
anything.
yeah, we're just not bidding out anything, I just say we just,
Do a bunch of spot patches.
do a bunch, put it on spot patching this year.
Yeah.
Because there's not a decent road to even chip and seal.
What's the budget look like on that?
50.
What's that?
You might just ask for the budget.
About 50. Is that what I
Yeah. We could do about 50,000 on spot patching.
Yeah,
That'd probably take care of most of them, or all for bad spots.
busted up stuff, yeah.
Well, if what you said is accurate, then you can't go over 30,000.
But we can go twice.
You do 30 now, and then in the fall do
Yeah.
20.
Well, you still do, you can do 30,000 twice. Just two different bills.
Gotcha. Understand.
Without bidding it out. Say,
What's the reason you don't want to bid it out, Dan?
I don't know how you would really bid it out.
I don't know how you bid it out either. Cause see, I think we can get asphalt for about $80 to $83 a ton.
That's put down.
Yep. You know,
Well, hell, we're paying $60 a ton just to buy it.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You still get bids. They all get the same amount of information based on estimated tonnage.
I mean, the only way that I think we could bid it is if you put a bid out there and say, let's say we have 50,000, how much material will you give us? You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
I know.
Or say, what do you charge per tonnage? We're doing it, so we'll have it like,
You just call around and find out.
if we bid it.
Well, for me, 30,000, 50,000, 60,000 is a lot of money. I think it should be bid out. What's it gonna hurt?
You better get it done before the middle of the
I
winter.
don't know it, but time wise.
How are you suggesting that we bid it out? I mean, you're saying, I don't know what I said about saying what's your price per tonnage and all that, to put it down? Because
The
I,
engineer's office could probably still help you out on that if you want. Fair tonnage, you're just, take your budget, divide it by, Dan said, figures is $80 to $83 a ton. With the estimate, give them some different ranges, if it's X amount of tons, what's your price per ton? If it's another range, what's your price per ton? It wouldn't take long for you to put a bid together like that, would it?
we bid it out,
Otherwise, you're kind of giving a free ticket to whoever comes in and doing it.
yeah.
And there's really no,
You can bid it from Ward in June,
Everything we're getting, so,
July, August, September.
because they're gonna have all their stuff come in July
Yeah.
for, you know, they're all issue 2 money or whatever.
Sure.
They're gonna have to do all that stuff later.
we could still have our road meeting like we generally do when we bid it out. We could, get a better idea of time between now and the meeting.
Yeah, 50,000 has been about,
So the way you're talking about, Dan, you're gonna have to have them come in twice apparently. If what you say is accurate from the engineer.
No, they can do it 2 different days.
You do it all once, Jeff, just don't.
You said, you said that 30,000
Yep, you
once
guys,
and 30,000, I haven't seen that in writing, so I don't know where that's written, what it's based on.
that's what they told me when I was in there talking to them. You can bill 30,000 out for one day and 30,000 out for the next day.
So basically what you're saying is up to the 60,000, you said we have about 50. We're gonna take
Yeah.
the whole budget and not bid it out and spend it all.
Mhm.
I'm not against bidding it out, I mean, but I don't, just to see, say, what's your price per ton to put down? And that's the only
If we do it, we should get it out and back real quick.
question.
But if we all live on Route 40 where there's no potholes and everything, that'd be great. When you live out on Cherry Hill Road, Mac Road, where it's falling apart, we're tearing our cars up, driving up and down them every day to go anywhere. Time isn't important to you. But when you live on them roads, and you got to depend on the drive on, you're tearing your vehicles up, hitting them potholes. The faster you do it, the better. Get them done.
Without bidding it out, we have no idea knowing whether
All
we
we do is
get
get on the telephone, make some calls, and find out exactly what they're gonna charge.
You can,
get the bids in writing too, then it wouldn't be that difficult. Because it isn't our money, it's everybody's money.
Sewage part.
I'd like to review whatever that is that you're saying Bill said. I'd like to make sure we don't misstep on this.
We bid something out, put it in paper, we can have it back for next month. And then June meeting, we warn it June.
Let's do it, get it done here in a couple of weeks.
You wanna do that, bid it out, have a meeting,
Mm-hmm.
can we do that? How soon can we get a newspaper?
I might be able to have it in there Monday, but I need to know what I'm putting in there. I mean Sunday,
Just be various roads,
Sunday or Monday.
spot patching.
Yeah, spot passing. Just need to know the price per tonnage.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that before, I think.
Uh,
It was part of another, it was a portion of another ad, I believe.
the price per tonnage install, put down. For 2 weeks, I mean, you get something in order on Sunday?
Yeah, but you'll have to get them from them.
Well, if they don't have to come out and look at it, nothing, they're just gonna choose back the price, what tonnage they want, get a measure or anything like that. Two weeks is the 10th. It's a Tuesday. We'll do it then.
Yeah.
Fine with us.
In the evening.
Yeah, for the morning.
Not that day.
How about later that week?
I could do it Wednesday.
That'd be
in the
fine.
morning.
I'm fine with it.
11.
I don't know what time. 3:30 or-
Yeah.
And then 8.
Huh?
8.
Are you going here? Setting the meeting?
Yeah. Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Be the 11th.
And that's when we're opening bids.
well.
That's Wednesday, the 11th at 8
Yeah,
PM or AM?
anyway.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All
You
righty.
give it up?
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
8 AM in the
Yes,
morning.
we're down
Yeah,
to
that'd
the
be fine.
township meeting, and I can call you back from that.
June 11th, 8 AM.
Okay.
Would you need a motion to put that ad in, or
Okay.
you're still writing it?
I'll make a motion to put that ad in.
A second?
Okay, I'll tell him. Okey-doke.
Roll call, Dan,
Yeah.
Ben,
Yep.
Jeff.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I will.
All right.
Can I put your number in there for contact?
Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, public comment.
Hot in here. Wasn't my turn?
Well, I make a motion, we pay bills.
Yeah, I have, I'm sorry, I had my hand up.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. PERS, depending on the reporting history, many times will grant a waiver of forfeiture or interest, penalty or interest. I would suggest requesting that prior to just cutting a check. Give them a call for that. Secondly, in light of the recent thefts by the Bowling Green Township Park Committee President, felony thefts, multiple ones. I understand at least 2 of those are felony. One she paid back to senior citizens. The records were turned over to Jeff Chorpenning directly after the committee was dissolved in December. I guess my question is, because this is, like you said, Jeff, public funds, public money, did you receive any funds from Barbara Wiseman?
No.
Well, wait, I'm not finished.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. The answer is no.
And in light of the fact that she was being investigated, which you did bring up, and you knew, did you do any investigation or review of those records to see if any monies may have been stolen from that park committee?
Jenny has all those records.
Is that yes or
There were no
no?
financials in there. The only thing I know about this is stating the facts. That's all I know to be true. And unless Jenny knows anything different on it, there's nothing out of line on township funds.
So you received them, but you want Jenny to answer. The question is,
I didn't receive any financial documents at all. No reservation forms, no copies of checks, nothing financial at all.
do you think that's,
The only reservation forms, if they were in there, this one that we're trying to update, and they were blank.
do you think that's kind of unique or odd that she would be holding this and not have any records?
She turns those in every month, from what I understand, to Jenny. That's the practice.
The
that she's
originals?
done. Yes, she gives them to Jenny, and Jenny's supposed to give
So
them
she
copies
keeps
back.
no copies?
She doesn't
She
have a
has
way
the
to find
originals.
Okay,
I
so,
made a copy and gave her the originals.
so my question is, Jeff received all that information. Did he do any background or checking? The answer, I guess, is no.
Those
Is
are,
that
I told you
correct?
I didn't receive those, Jenny did. I've never even seen them.
the originals were not in the box that I received
That's
from
right.
her.
You received from him that he picked up from Barbara?
I didn't pick up any of that from Barb. That's all done directly with her.
The
You had
box-
mentioned that you picked up information from Barbara
did.
Wiseman.
Yeah, I said I want everything you have.
And the stuff that you had, that's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
not that it was given to
Right,
her.
there's no financials in there, that's what I told you.
Isn't that somewhat peculiar?
No,
If it's
because
financial
I know that
records?
She gives them all to Jenny.
Not the
Process.
originals? Jeff, what it
Yes,
feels
she
like,
did. What I understand is she knows the process better than I do.
And I just
Clearly.
started the process. I made a copy and gave them all back to her. She
Okay.
has the originals. They were not in the box.
Okay,
She
then
still
she's-
has them.
The originals.
Yes.
Well, why are you giving her originals back? All she would need is a copy.
It doesn't matter.
Either way.
Either way, it
Either
doesn't
way,
matter.
you
She
have
still
them.
has
The
them.
township has them. We should have the originals.
well, the question
If you
comes
make
down,
copies of it, doesn't matter. Jenny has the records.
well, the question, you did mention here at the one meeting you had the records. Ben at least asked once for them. You said you would look at them, make copies and bring them in. Of those records, did you do an investigation to see if it looked like anything was peculiar, missing, and somewhat suspicious? Because she stole from at least 3 organizations. She had control of public funds. The Bowling Green Township Park Committee, she was in control of public funds. Chances are very good that she may have taken from there. Aren't you suspicious of that?
Well, if she did, is everything in line, Jenny?
I couldn't tell you if she received money and didn't give it to me. I could not tell you that.
Well, I would have to say that's very suspicious. And Jeff, you taking the record, I'm surprised you wouldn't say at least that it's suspicious.
I just explained all I know about it to you. so.
After all this was brought out, I can name 3 residents off the top of my head that I spoke to that informed me that they never received their deposit back.
That's suspicious.
And
Well-
I asked them, without pointing a finger at anybody, I said, was the building clean? They said yes. The agreement was when they rented the building, it needed to be clean when they left. They said, we cleaned it. We never received our deposit back. One woman stated she thought the deposit was to hold the building, and that was also part of the rental. So she was paying her deposit to hold it, and then her rental fee, and she wasn't going to get anything back, which she should have got it back if she cleaned it.
Did she think it was twice the cost? Is that what
One
she's
woman
claiming?
stated, a resident, stated that she had rented the building 5 times within the past 2 years and had never received a deposit.
Well, I think the township citizens deserve an investigation, and I would ask that Jeff Chorpenning spearhead that, since he had the possession of any records she was willing to submit back to the township. Maybe work in conjunction with Jenny. I think that's the least we can ask.
Well, what do you feel that we wouldn't have?
Was
You
that-
have copies of all the financial documents.
I don't have
She doesn't know
any
what
original.
documents were not submitted. So that's why I'm asking, just some type of investigation.
There was a calendar that was turned in for 2013 that has, the blocks written in, the date. Was there a calendar for 2012, 11, 10? How was that? I don't know.
My understanding over the years is that you made copies of that for her too, didn't you? I don't know. I
No.
can't speak for, I
I
don't know.
never saw.
Well, this is what I'm getting at. The
That's
fact,
the document that has the financials on it, is when somebody actually
I understand.
pays
Yes,
a
but
deposit.
if she did not give
And
that to me, I
I
would
find
not
it kind
know.
of curious, if people, why wasn't the board notified? To me, if I rented something and it was clean, and I didn't get my deposit back, I'd be a little upset, and I'd be asking questions.
I agree.
And somebody's saying that that's happened, how many times?
Numerous.
That's odd.
That's even more reason for you, who have received those documents and records, to do an investigation, because there's hundreds of township individuals, and I have been contacted by nearly half that many about an investigation. And that's why I brought it up to you, since you were the one that said you took possession of those records, which we have to assume is financial as well. Whether you say it is or not, she would have held those financial records. My only question is, you already said you received nothing. Is there going to be an investigation done internally? And I would suggest you spearhead it, since you were in possession of those records.
Well, the entire board needs to do that. If we want to have a meeting, we can have a meeting.
I agree.
Bring in the documents, bring in all the deposits, all the information, come through every piece of it.
And I would ask you spearhead it, and I'm sure that most of the people here and throughout the township would agree. That's suspicious, and I can't believe you don't believe that's suspicious.
I didn't say it then.
I wasn't privy to see what was in the box when Mr. Corcoran
Jenny has all that as
possession
public
of it.
record, so, I assume
How long,
it's still
how long
has
did you
stuff.
have that box before you give it to them?
It's not even relevant.
Sure it is.
I also see, from what I understand, I've said this before, the way I understood the process is that she collected the deposits, she would give it back, or she'd give it to you. And from my understanding, everyone always got their deposit back. And I've never heard anyone tell different. Nobody has ever come to a meeting, nobody's ever contacted me personally over all the years, and I don't remember any incident where someone didn't get a deposit back.
Jeff, what I'm saying is she's stolen.
So if that's, if that's where the,
No.
is that where else would the theft come from? You're saying that somebody,
She stole from 3 out of 4 organizations, and you were intimately involved in the Bowling Green Township Park Committee. You're involved in a lot of the meetings. You know what was going on. So my question is, my statement is, you're the best person to spearhead an investigation. So my question is, will you do that?
sure, set a meeting date. We all need to do it as a board. I don't have a problem with that. Bring everything in, we'll comb through it. But we need, what are we gonna do without the 3 people that say that they didn't get funds?
That's for you to answer, not me.
Well, it's hearsay at this point. I don't know who they are. Ben would have to.
But that is what is,
How do you track that? Where would the paper trail be for that if it's not?
We need a paper.
that's a good thing to ask. That's what you should be digging into. But any evidence that's destroyed is destroyed. But I think we should look into that. And it's public funds that are missing,
From my
maybe.
understanding, if you're talking about, I don't know why you give her the originals. Doesn't make, excuse me?
I assumed that they would be coming back with all the other records.
Which they should have been.
Well, I know
Which they-
she
yes, they
also
should have been.
requested when I picked that stuff up, that she wanted copies of things. I talked to Amy about that. I was gonna take it to Amy and say, Amy, I wanna give it to you. And she said, don't do that, just bring it down and give it to Jenny. Well, that was before all this other stuff came.
It was my understanding you were forced to do it after several.
There was no force.
So if I submit a document that shows that you were requested by the prosecutor's office in Licking County? Are you gonna say that doesn't exist?
I wasn't forced to do anything. I never refused to turn over anything.
Did somebody
I still didn't, I
physically take
didn't
your
get it.
hand? No. Was it, did the prosecutor's office advise you to turn them over? Absolutely.
Are you denying that? That's important to us, the trustee, or
I've
the,
already said all I can. I can't say it any clearer.
Because you refused to turn them over to this board when they were asked.
I never refused to turn anything.
Yes, you did.
They were in your car.
I never refused to, and the documents that you need aren't even there.
how do you know what I need, what they need?
Where are they? What
Because,
documents are we talking about?
is this open forum, Dan, or what?
Well, we're trying to find out what's going on here.
Well, let's set a meeting and let's have Jenny bring in a copy of every receipt that's been written, or whatever you got, everything. Set a meeting and
I'm an accountant, I also work a lot with those kind of things, auditing, be happy to set in, volunteer my time, if you want me to do that, just let me know.
Jenny has everything at this point except, you have everything, right?
Except everything she didn't give me.
Right.
Which are the originals that you made copies
And
of?
anything else that she didn't give me.
And how would anyone know?
Don't have the calendars of,
Well, I will volunteer my professional time to set in and help audit these records.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay,
But, it sounds like these monies are potentially with deposits that didn't come back, so.
it's possible.
Who is it, Ben? You said one lady 5 times. You know.
I just think that there should be an investigation, that's what I stood up here to say. I know that you had possession of those records, you admitted to it, and
Sure.
I think you should spearhead it.
I told you I did. I
Okay.
told you what I had and didn't have. That's all there is to it. Jenny has all that stuff, so.
Do you remember when you took possession of them?
Specific date, no. It was-
About. Give me about.
Nobody had, when I talked to her, it was early
January.
January.
You walk
I
around.
asked her if anyone would contact her. She knew that there was no park committee. And I said, Barb, I want everything. She had a box there, it's the same box. I said, put it all in that box. I'm gonna take all the records. That was it.
Okay.
January?
I've done some investigating for the state as well.
She also asked for. some
Those
copies
facts
she-
themselves tell me that there's more to it, okay? So I would suggest anyone with the slightest suspicion dig into it on this board. And Jeff, with you having the last documents that we know of, I
Jenny
hope,
has it all.
I would hope that you would spearhead this
I already
investigation.
told you, let's have a meeting. If you wanna do that, I have no problem with that. I'd like to figure out how we're gonna find any wrongdoing.
We can do that with auditing, but will you spearhead
Well, I
that
don't
for
know.
us?
How can we do it with auditing if there's,
I'll be happy to
I
show
don't
you.
know.
I'll be happy to step in.
There's gotta be a paper trail to find it in an audit.
How do you know there isn't?
I don't know there isn't.
Well, then let's take a look at it. My question though is, will you spearhead that?
Sure, I told you.
Okay,
How
thank
to do
you.
it. The
That's
board
it.
can do that, let's do it.
Thank you for your time.
When you wanna set a meeting and come in, Jenny, we'll meet, how about we do it the same day? We're coming in anyhow, then you can, because it'll probably have to be advertised, probably, right?
It's not gonna happen after that. Some people have to work for a living, and need to go to work that day, so.
But when do you wanna do it?
do some meeting.
Yeah, there you go.
And you wanna do it the next meeting?
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to make us, you don't wanna make copies for everybody, we're gonna have to all review it together or something.
Well, my question is, since this is already a meeting, why not discuss it now?
We don't have all the information to look, you can't,
Then
how could you do it without the documents?
Oh, I
Well, you had them, as far as I know, or you gave them to Jenny, I don't know.
Jenny has everything the township has received,
I understand that, but
okay? It's not here.
I'm just saying this, if Jenny does not have anything, what documents do you possess?
None. I don't have any.
Then what happened to the box that you came hold of?
Just give it to Jenny, just like I got it.
How many days did you have it before you gave it to Jenny? That's what I'd like to know.
About 2 months.
You did admit to making copies.
No.
You said you wanted to
I
keep
said
them
I
and
wanted-
make copies.
I wanted to, but I didn't get a chance to. All of a sudden, there was a push and a rush to get it done, so that's one reason I wanted to give it to Amy.
So you don't have any documents, any copies? Okay, just for the record, that's all I'm wondering. Because that's a big part of the review, or an audit. It would be good.
Well, she has all that. And I know that Barb asked for certain things, and did you get them to her?
I know that she would have what was turned over to her.
Do you know how many months You didn't give her copies of it?
There's just one.
Just
the last-
December?
Yes,
Okay.
December, yes,
So that's all that she doesn't have.
yes,
And she asked for a copy of calendars too.
yes. I'm not sure why she needs the originals.
Is it original calendars from 10, 11, 12?
No, the only calendar that was in there was 13.
So they've been destroyed or removed, or somebody
I don't know
hasn't?
what happened to him, but the only.
Won't surrender them.
calendar was-
I think that's important.
That's the only one I saw in there.
Jenny, I have a
But
question
this,
for you.
but this is the documentation that would show the paper trail of what
Every
was
month when
actually.
you were getting things from Barb, and she gave you the checks or whatever for the rental, was there also checks that included the amount for the deposit for that person who rented, or was it just the check for the rental?
If
It
the
was
form's
just-
filled out right, it's all right
Where's
here.
the money, where's
She
the
was
check?
asking me.
Yes, please. Where was the money for the deposit?
I never saw the deposit money.
So there was two actions. It was the check for the rental and one for the deposit. But you were only given the one for the rental,
Yes.
but nothing ever showed for a deposit.
It showed on the paper, but that doesn't mean.
But it doesn't mean it was returned, it just showed.
Right.
That's why an investigation is
Thank you.
needed and an audit and then contact for maybe hundreds of people. Because these are public funds, as we know, that's your tax dollars and mine. And I don't think anybody should ignore this just because you happen to be friends to that person.
I don't think anybody's ignoring anything.
You are.
I didn't say you were. It was just a statement. No need to defend yourself, Jeff.
On this form here, it says deposit amount, date deposit received, but we don't have on here date deposit returned.
Or if it
And
was
I think
returned.
there's a lot of people, like, was it January or February, during the interim time, the auctioneer paid a deposit, and I had a receipt book. They didn't pay it, he paid cash, I held it and gave it back to him. And I gave him so there was a paper trail that he gave it to me and gave it back.
Well, we're talking about,
But I do believe there were circumstances, from what I understand, a lot of people that were regulars, I don't know if they did or didn't pay a deposit. But I think a lot of times, like the auctioneer, he kind of looked at me funny when I said, look, I had the form, said I'm required to take a deposit. I'll look at it myself when it's done and give it back. He didn't have a problem with that. But I think a lot of times people that were regulars over a period of time never paid a deposit.
it's
And
possible.
then on people that got it for free for whatever different reason, they're not paying deposits either.
Well, those are the exclusions. The concerns I have are those that didn't get the deposit back. Not the ones that we think didn't pay a deposit, but the others.
Well,
So,
I think we can find this.
Are you still taking monies for the rental of this building? Are you still booking rentals for this building?
No, you had a resolution, what was it, January, February?
Right,
No,
okay, and you just said you took money from the auctioneer. and
right,
wrote a
that was,
receipt.
that was,
So you're booking this building.
no, that was, I brought that publicly and we discussed it right here.
Okay, I talked to Mr. Watkins at least twice that he said that the room has been double booked.
When was this?
Because somebody had talked to you and you said, yes, they could have it.
That's not true.
I'm pulling this out of the air.
I've got Mr. Watkins' phone number on a post-it note right by my phone. If somebody calls and asks, I say call Mr. Watkins.
let me make something clear.
I'm not booking anything, so that's it.
I'm not accusing you, Jeff, Ben, Jenny, or Dan of anything. I'm just asking you all to do an investigation. I'm asking Jeff to spearhead it since he had the last, that I know, possession of, the chain of possession goes from Barb Wiseman to Jeff Chorpenning to Jenny.
Part of it.
The last.
The majority of, all the financials were Barb Wiseman to Jenny.
Oh, not there.
Yes.
Well, that's up for us to look into, and I'd suggest looking into it.
Sure. The way to do
That
that.
was a deposit you took.
Yeah, and that was this year.
Yeah, that was after Barb was done.
Right. I didn't want anything overbooked.
If you let-
during the
It was
If you let me
after
know-
Dawn was supposed to be taken.
When that meeting is, I'll be happy to show up and help, assist, volunteer at no charge.
Well, why don't we do it, I think it's a fine idea, but we need ample time to go through.
What, one calendar?
How about if we do it, if we set a time earlier, this time next month for the meeting? Come in earlier, how much time do you think we want to allow for?
4 to 6 hours,
Okay, well, how
the
about,
first time.
our next monthly meeting is 24th. We could meet in the morning now.
June 24th.
I'll meet whatever day you need to, whatever time you need to.
But if you feel like she has documents that you don't have,
She
I
should
don't
be
know what
here
they would-
too,
I don't-
shouldn't she?
She refused to show up.
I don't know what they would be.
Well, I can tell you one right off the top of my head that I know that's not there because I asked Jenny. There's no calendars for 2010, 11, or 12.
Well, you can
So to
contact
take
them,
those
ask
calendars
them.
and look at the blocks that are filled out to the rental forms, that's going to be a start of it.
That's suspicious.
I have a question. What year was this park committee started with Barb Wiseman as president?
2008, I believe, right?
Is that nine?
With her president, I don't know with her president.
I'm not, I'd have to look back, I can tell you, look back.
Jeff should know.
I haven't memorized. It was sometime between 2006 and 9.
So there should be paperwork from 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Yeah, that was my
11,
biggest
12,
interest in the
13.
box, was the meeting minutes. That was, and I'd still like to, it'd be expensive to copy those at this point. The first secretaries and several secretaries, the first one put it in his, you just saw how it was, did you look at it? It's in that blue folder, and each month it's in a plastic sleeve in there. But yes, there's meeting minutes. That was my biggest concern of what I made sure I got from Barb, because I didn't want that history to be lost.
But it does mention.
But I'm not talking about meeting minutes, I'm talking about bookings and anything that had to do with money and receipts. And
Well, I know
so you're talking how many years?
she came and gave us we got to the point where she physically came and gave us a report on it.
Every month. I remember
Right.
seeing her do that.
Right.
Shouldn't all those copies have been kept and in a folder?
Jenny has that.
Bookkeeping?
and I understand Jenny has it, and Barb apparently still has her
Were those
copies.
turned over in the box?
No,
From 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13?
no, not unless they were in the meeting minute book. I don't think they were. I didn't see any forms in there of that, except
So you went through the box before Jenny got it?
I looked through it. I didn't look at every single piece. Wasn't an urgency.
I surrender the floor. Thank you for your
It wasn't
time.
urgency? I remember it being asked in the meeting for it,
Do you have a question about
and you
this?
had it in your car.
Yeah, I have a quick question. How big was the box that you received?
It's just a box. That, Jenny?
And it's only about half full.
It's
so
a
how
food
much
bank
in it?
bread box, or whatever they call it. It says
Mm.
food bank on it.
Why didn't you stop her immediately saying, where is the rest of the documents? Since
I didn't see
This
it. I
is-
didn't have any reason to think anything was missing.
Why didn't you?
And why would she need to provide documents that were copies given to her from, see, what
Because
baffles,
she may have stolen them.
what
Jeff.
baffles me is why you gave her the originals.
I
Something to
don't,
do with it, whether it
because
was
I
original or
assumed they would
copy.
be kept with the park committee records and that we would get those back
Okay, well,
if need be.
Clearly, the park committee was not trustworthy, Jenny. That's why we're asking for an investigation.
Why did you go over there and get them and put them in your car? Why didn't you bring them back over and set them on the table and then she went over and got them after the meeting?
I'm just as concerned as those records. as
Good question.
You put them in your car, Jeff, and you had them just
That's
about
right.
2.5 months.
I don't know how long it was. I didn't have time to
And that's
take them to a
auctioneer.
copy store and copy them.
You give that auctioneer 4 days to have a sale. Did you get money for them 4 days? They put stuff in there and nobody could use it?
Well,
No will, yes or
the
no?
fact of the matter is, Jenny has the receipts for that. From what I understand, past practice has always been with any auctioneer, if it was not any other event, they can come. What are they doing now? You have to ask it on. When's he coming, setting up? He had one, what, last month or something?
I don't know.
The night before.
But, if that's a concern, it needs to be updated in there.
They're public funds and we need to know where they're at, if anything's missing.
So, do you want to set a date then so we can move on?
A couple
Yeah,
of questions
here.
real quick.
Jeff earlier said he couldn't speak for Barb, but he has for the last couple, 3 years, every meeting I've been at. Anything was said bad or against Barb, Jeff jumped in there and said, oh, no, she's trustworthy, she's a good person. Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, did you or not?
I can't speak for any wrongdoing that Barb may or may not.
I'm not saying that, but you backed her 100%.
You have a gentleman sitting right here who could speak for you, that she has stolen from this township.
Stolen from the Bowling Green Township funds?
Township community.
Community.
Okay. I understand that, I've read the statement of facts, but it's not under our umbrella as township trustees. The
And that's
cemetery
only
is
one
not
of
a
three
township,
organizations.
but the cemetery is not
I
a township
understand that.
cemetery, the church is not affiliated with.
The park committee is.
A couple of questions, and we'll set a date.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
I'm a bit confused there again. Are we having a trial here, or is this a communist meeting, or what are we
Is there,
doing?
Have a public discussion.
at this point, there is proof that this happened, that she did it? That she did what?
To other
Stolen money?
organizations, yes, there's proof.
Yes, she's already been charged.
And admitted to.
Right.
And paid back some of the money.
Okay. Is there proof and people coming forward that she did it here?
Possibly.
Okay, possibly.
To this point, it's all been
But
An
hearsay.
they-
investigation is needed is what we're asking for.
Sure.
Okay.
I agree.
So possibly, until they do, she is presumed innocent
No,
at this point, here at this location, right?
no,
Why not?
but she admitted to doing that, but why wouldn't she?
Someplace else?
Here,
She admitted to doing it here?
In a perfect world, yes, she's presumed innocent until found guilty, no doubt. We're asking for an investigation because she was found
I
guilty.
understand that, but it seems like everybody's saying that she's guilty here before there's proof because she did someplace else. But when you prove that she did it here too, then she's guilty here.
I haven't heard
I
anyone
think
say that.
everybody wants a peace of mind to
So
know
you need
yes or
to-
no. If
Prove that it happened before you condemn somebody, is what I'm saying. I'm not
Agreed,
taking
agreed.
no sides.
Right, investigation is needed.
Agreed.
Set the date, let's move on.
And
Think
you wanted to
Ron,
ask.
wanna say
for
something real quick?
Well, yeah, it comes back, what was it, last year about the merry-go-round? I mean, it costs the taxpayer $1,400, nobody's going, you know, what's him, we're a loser on that. You know how much the township, the whole community has lost in a year and a half in, from Bob Wiseman, even from Jeff Chorpenning for that he did on
She
the
did return
park.
some of the money from the seniors, but she had on hand.
And that's taxpayer money from that.
She took
It's not his salary.
from the years that she was the treasurer of the seniors.
Okay, we'll set a meeting, I mean.
Senior.
Yeah, it might be a
Good evening.
good idea if we could have Amy come to that too, because, you know,
Because she had
we have
that
some
money on
legal
hand.
help. Why not?
Let's set a tentative date until we talk to Amy.
And she returned
Make sure she can
it, I
come.
wrote her a letter,
Right.
and Buzz Coble was gutsy enough to go.
What about
So
Monday?
you think that's a good idea as well?
Monday,
Because she's,
Yeah, that'd be fine.
better than,
when?
a Monday evening,
Give me a
And I guess what
couple
you're
of
saying
weeks to
is
get
that
things together.
she's
Well,
the
16th?
treasurer
We'll do
of
16th?
the 3 other organizations, and she stole from them. And
16th?
it is possible.
23rd, and then we'll have a meeting on the 24th.
Stole from them.
Yeah, the day before the meeting.
I would ask that anyone knows, anyone who rented these buildings, reach out to them and see if they did not receive their deposit. If not, contact one of the trustees here. I would suggest Ben or Dan, or contact Friends of Bowling Green Township through the email or the website, or a number of ways you can contact us. We will get the information to the trustees.
Monday evening, we'll call that back 16th or
I
23rd.
think there were a lot of people who just went down and said, I want to use the community building, and they didn't know how to.
16?
And really.
Time check.
What?
What do you think,
16th,
what do you think of time frame? I mean,
The earlier the better, so we can put enough time in it, because that's not something,
that's what I'm saying, we should
should
make
we
it
start,
6.
what, 6?
at least,
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever works for you.
What's the date?
16th, July 16th.
July?
July?
No, June, I'm
June
sorry.
16th?
June 16th,
Is that open to the public?
yes,
Yep.
6 o'clock?
yes.
Thank you.
I assume you're gonna have to advertise that and put it in the same.
Well, it doesn't matter if you separate that, it's fine. It's still gonna cost the same. I mean, it'll cost the same, but I'll put the note the same.
June 16th. 6 o'clock.
What day is it on?
Monday.
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 You want to change it, Tim?
You're there on Mondays, right?
Here's me again.
Okay.
Is this about this public stuff?
Just briefly.
Okay.
When you have this meeting, you know, the public will be here, now could this possibly be not 10 witnesses talking at the same time, one witness says what they got to say, and instead of 10? I hear
You can't hear
We like that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, that's one reason I requested that we see if legal counsel can come, because maybe they can assist in that manner too. To try to keep it professional and to the
I don't see
topic.
how you're gonna prove
Because
this.
That's a tentative date, as long as Amy can come. If she can't come,
I don't
change
think
it.
we should have a meeting like that without legal counsel here to assist us
I
with it.
understand.
I understand you may be an expert in accounting, but our legal counsel is the one that we need to count on. And if we do find a wrongdoing, I'll be the first one to stand up and say we need to pursue this to the fullest matter.
It's good to
But up to
hear.
this point, there hasn't been anything. And I still find it really odd, because if I didn't get a deposit back and I'd cleaned that building, I'd be coming to the Board of Trustees and saying, hey, I didn't get my money back. And that's never happened. So I don't understand that.
That's the reason for the investigation.
Sure.
Mr. West, just to let you know, normally an audit is done in a very simple matter with paperwork. It's not a lot of discussion, just to let you know.
Well, we don't really even have to,
How far are we going back?
I would suggest that we keep the public input to a minimum or to none, because it's a working session to get a job
She
done.
had involvement.
It's not one of these monthly.
That's right.
The only thing is you're not gonna need to approve anything.
I mean,
I don't know how you're gonna do it. Nobody's
Bring
gonna
it, yeah.
approve anything, nobody comes to say anything.
Any other public comment?
Well, you're gonna have every piece of paperwork that you have, right?
There's a record retention schedule that I'm sure you have somewhere, or there is assigned to the townships. That's probably how far it should go back, normally 4 to 7 years.
Well, I wanna see the entire, from the start of the park committee up till December 31st.
I agree.
Everything. We need all of it here if we're looking through it. We might wanna reference something. We need everything here.
But to Jenny's,
You know, I don't know how much paperwork it is you have, but the entire rest of the box, you know, the size of that. How much paperwork is there from every rental form that's been filled out for the last 6 years?
Is this box full that you're saying, like this, full? How much is
It's a
it?
lot of paperwork, and what I'm gonna have to do is go through my receipts, and,
Is
because I
that enough
attach
time
my
to prepare?
receipts to, with the,
Is that
I'm gonna
enough time to
have to
prepare
separate all
for
the
it?
receipts out.
You need more time?
You pay by the
No.
hour.
yeah,
So it's,
Yeah,
it's like in a monthly folder.
it's in a yearly folder. I keep my receipts in one folder for the entire year, so I'm gonna have to go through my receipts for each year and pull out the ones that were from the park committee,
How big is each year's folder?
about like that, of receipts.
Jeff, normally these reviews go anywhere from 40 to 120 hours.
Well,
Second of an
if
audit.
we require more time, we can
That's
certainly,
a week.
we can certainly do that. We've gotta start somewhere, don't we?
But the thing is, those receipts, we don't have anything to reference those, cross-reference those with, except for 2013, we have the calendar.
We'll talk about that there, but I'm just saying that's about the kind of time we're looking at in some cases. Maybe not here, hopefully.
It's a start.
Who did the calendar together? Who had it? Did
I
Donnie-
never got any calendars
Did Donnie
except for
turn
the
his calendar
2013.
over to her?
What?
Did Donnie turn the original ones over to her? He had?
I think so.
They should be here. They should have one of them too.
I don't know, I never saw any calendars except for the 2013.
That's part of the investigation, Jack. Hopefully, we'll dig them up and everything's fine. I'm hopeful.
Well, from what I saw,
I
it
know
was
he's
just for
already been down to the
2000.
prosecuting attorney, but he didn't have nothing to do with Barb Wiseman's doings.
Any other public comment?
Donnie's in.
I'll make a motion to pay bills.
May I turn the AC on?
Yeah, very
I'll
much.
second that.
The AC or?
Are all the checks, Jenny, are all the checks here or there? Yes. Okay, the first one I got here is Jack Richard Hedges, check 4435, $314.04. Got a copy of the time sheet here. Next one is Daniel Nelson, Engineering, check 4438, $621.32. $4427 Barb's Lake, $40.15. Mileage and Pleasant Valley Limestone, 4428, $108.32. Unit prices, $108.32. Like 4482, Ohio Public Entity Consortium, Dental Blake, $260.40.
Yeah. Give me a call back.
Auto signs, $74.70, 44.41.
It's okay.
Are these the ones?
This is what children play.
How long did it take you?
Jack, did the signs come in? The signs come in?
The children playing signs for Somerset Road. Have you seen them? We ordered 2 signs. You ever seen them? No.
Can you hold this until we know for sure we got them? All signed already?
They're supposed to be delivered here.
4430 Beckett Chainsaw Supply, $13.99.
Ship date 5/13 is what it says.
Barb Celine, 7154, time she's here, this is 4437.
Check with Dawn.
Donald W. Watkins, got a time sheet here, check 4439, $407.78. Dan, okay, let's sign this one. I brought the code for you tonight. Question, compensation for trustees, ORC 505.248.
You got it.
You're not going to sign the check? No explanation. You're not going to sign? Get that number in.
I think everybody.
505.24. All right, look it up, read it. MNCO, 4429, $56 for advertising. Barb Celine, this one's for 4016.
I'm going to the guy that was standing here instead of you guys. About, they didn't get their money back, whatever. What is his position? What is his position in the township that they would tell him instead of you guys?
On the time sheet, it says cell phone,
He said they're all coming to
$25.
him.
Okay, they're
Tell
not doing
him.
it. Well, let me know.
Some stuff, Ben.
We'll get code of that.
Yeah.
See about $40.15, check 4427.
See you later. Okay, thanks for warning, Tim.
Like 4433, Dan, refusing to sign it. $623.21.
Now, Laura
make a motion to adjourn. Oh.
Bank reconciliation, April 30th, 2014, adjusted bank balances, $1,074.
Hey, Jack, your shift May 13th. That's when I saw you shift. That's 2 weeks ago. Well, let me know. I know you're not like that. If we ended up
Is this when you're basing that $50,000?
We're basing it on our projected
I always get mixed up with the right pictures.
I asked for a
Continuous expenses. That's a business, that's not. It's a business. I would do it myself, then you
I don't have
It's what? It's not a business. It's a business, but it's a
Yes.
Got light?
I'll have those in the next
I'm
meeting.
sure the township was let somebody who lives that way on Main Street.
bank blanket certificate of $4,000. The other one is
way up in the back.
Are we still on direct pay some of the electric stuff? How often do we get billed?
This guy with the USA shirt. He don't want nothing more. He isn't taking off. He looks more like, Jared's more like a white.
I was close.
That community.
We have a motion to I'm asking if you have one. It's hard to hear.
You leaving? Comrade Chorpenning, are you leaving?
I got it wrapped up there.
Here, I want to here's your money. Here's your payoff. Here's your bribe.
Taking a bribe while in office, huh?
Taking a bribe on camera.
Make sure something gets out on camera.
We're having that one meeting that's 8 o'clock in the morning.
June 11th.
Must have been working hard outside today in boots.
Got weed.
Got a lot of.
Jenny, the 8 a.m. is not the one we were talking about, is it?
No.
No. June 16th
June 16th.
at 6 p.m.
I prefer 6 a.m., but that's up to you.
I'd rather 6 p.m. Thanks.
All right.
Jenny, did you get my papers, please?
I did not.
Okay.
I will mail those to you in the next meeting.
Thank you very much.
I have not been invited to this.
We got one.
I was just gonna say, probably I didn't wonder why.
I'll let you do it. Here's the easy spot.
Okay.
Place it back. Nice there. Nice there. You just tell us, like, if that's it, that's it.
He still should pay his wife, right?
Yeah.
See?
Wow.
We agree.
Wow.
I got trying to go to that. Yes.
Could've There's the window man. Yeah, yeah, I think he thought you were kidding, when he owes him for some signs, he thinks, good, you don't want it, he must have thought he was kidding.
Ben, why